Hello, this is Wendy Garcars from the Micro Business Growth Club, and this presentation looks at the importance of marketing strategy and learning how to win the game. If you think that a marketing strategy is the stuff that you post on social media, then prepare yourself for a shock. If that's all you do to promote your business, then it won't deliver what you're anticipating. You need something more cohesive and broader ranging. Think about it like this. What would the odds of winning a game be that you hadn't prepared for? When you're looking at your marketing strategy, you need a game plan. You need to be able to score more goals than the opposition using your skill and your tactics. You need to understand the other team's strengths and weaknesses to protect your goal. And you need to read the game during play and spot threats and opportunities. By comparing your marketing strategy in this way to a football match, it needs a game plan to win. You can achieve so much more if you understand what your plan is from start to finish. Every business needs a marketing strategy to succeed. The idea is, by putting this together and weaving it through everything that you do like a golden thread, you stand a chance of giving yourself a cohesive approach to marketing, generating new sales and increasing your visibility. So the first thing you need to ask yourself is, are you match fit? You have to have some idea of what you expect your marketing to do for you. So it makes sense for you to think about what goals you want from your marketing strategy. What's the ideal outcome for you and how will you measure it? In this way, you're going to be asking yourself, does your branding promote your reputation and develop relationships with potential customers? Where are you advertising? What do you want it to really deliver for your business? If you understand that, then the next question has to be, do you know what the fans want to see? This is really you starting to understand how you connect with those people and what they see of your business. Simple question. What public relations have you done in the last 6 months to ensure that your customers are seeing who you really are, what you stand for and what your offering is? And finally, think to yourself about the equipment that you have. Do you have the right resources in the right place? This is really about you understanding the social media bit of your strategy. Is it targeted? Is it consistent? And is it engaging? Are you putting messages out in the right way across the channels where your prospective customers hang out? Making sure that they see you where they are visiting on a regular basis. So what I'm going to do in the next few slides is just talk you through some of the aims and strategies and tactics that you might employ to achieve all of this. And it starts with your game plan. Your game plan should be a set of strategies and tactics, each with actionable steps to help you win business. And it should cover everything, your branding, your PR, advertising, social media and other marketing activities. For example, if you have an email list and you're sending regularly out to them. The key thing is understanding where your gaps are. So if you have gaps, how are you responding to those? Think about your strategy then being the long-term goal. Exactly what are you trying to achieve? What do you know about your customers and your opposition, your opponents? And try and boil that down, summarise it into one sentence from what you want for your marketing. Once you've done that, that gives you some clarity, gives you some focus. You can then start to think about the tactics that you're going to use. And tactics are the short-term wins that give you the sort of progression and build momentum for your marketing. So think about which messages will have the biggest impact, which channels will reach your audience best, what problems are they struggling with, and what solutions do you have to offer. If you don't understand those things, you can't begin to build content around them. So these are basic questions that you have to answer with your marketing strategy, and so that it overarches everything that you do. Once you've done that, Then you can start to fill out the actionable steps that you need to take. So what themes are you going to use? I just think it's a really good idea to have a monthly theme, and that way it targets your content for the month, and it also enables you to do some preparation so that you're not leaving everything till the last minute. If you generate your content around those themes, then it can address the issues that your customer is having. You can also use it to ensure that you're offering value and that you're maintaining interest, and you're asking them to engage with you by using specific call to actions on all of your posts that you do. So when it comes to content then, the most important message is that your content should be for them, not for you. You may be posting stuff that you find interesting, but actually, if it's not answering one of their key questions or helping them to think through a problem that they have, or maybe even giving them a solution to that problem, then it will miss the mark. Because your content is the engagement, it has to be written for your customer from their perspective, almost as if you were one of them, because that will make them see how much easier it is to work with you because you understand their problems, their difficulties, and their challenges. It should offer, the content that you give should offer value. So the great thing about this is you can offer any tips, shortcuts, solutions to perennial problems. There's lots of things that you will be able to do. And when people are talking about this, they worry that they're giving too much away for free. The key thing with content is you can tell them what they need to do, but don't tell them how they need to do it. Because when they read the what I need to do, they'll know whether they can do that on their own or not. And they will come back to you to say, okay, well, how do I do that? So that's just a really useful tip, to just check to see whether you're giving too much content away for free. Your content should be visually attractive as well, because obviously you want it to attract passing traffic. And it has to be mentally stimulating and not too long. This is my rule of thumb, but I think that social media's postings should be no more than a minute's read. So that's about 300 words. If it's longer than that because you've got more to say or you want to explore an issue in more detail, that's fine. But turn that into a blog or an article and then make sure that your post directs them to that. Consistency then creates visibility. And 30 years ago, when I first started in business, it required just 6 touch points before you were on somebody's radar, before they, psychologically, before they acknowledged that you were there. Because of all the noise in the system and the development of social media, that now is estimated at 27 touch points. That's a massive increase in a short space of time. So what you also have to factor in is that with social media platforms using algorithms now and personalisation, it's likely that your audience see only 25% of the content that you generate. So that's 1 in 4 posts. So when people say to me, oh, I can't go on to social media and post every day, people will get fed up with me. The reality is you're not posting enough. If you're doing 1 post a month, even if that's consistently, you will be only reaching 25% of your audience with that 1 post. That's not enough with all of the noise in the system. So it needs to be regular. It needs to, ideally, needs to be on the same day, roughly at the same time. So you're building an expectation of the prospects and your connections that you will post something of value for them that they may want to see. You also need to be keeping an eye on what the opposition's doing. Now, I know this is a bit of a contentious topic, and lots of people say to me, well, I never follow my opposition because I don't want them to follow me back and find out what I'm doing. But the reality is you need to understand what's working for them, and you need to learn how they're doing it, and where appropriate, look at doing some of the same things, not in the same way because you need to stand out, But if they're crushing it on a social media platform, you need to understand how they're doing that and what they're putting out that is creating such a draw, such an attraction for prospects. So really, using the football analogy again, it's really about understanding who their star players are. So what is working for them that improves their visibility? And it might just be the frequency that they post or where they're posting or the style of their posts. But you need to understand that and maybe reflect some of that in what you're doing. You also can use their posts to understand what differentiates your offering from theirs. People don't buy you because you're the same as your competition. They buy you because you're different. And if you're not highlighting that difference with what you're putting out there in all aspects of your marketing, then how is a client, prospective client, supposed to decide you're the one for them? If you look the same as everybody else, there is no incentive to come and buy for you. So understand from your opposition what is their bread and butter and how are you different, and use the difference in your marketing messages right across the piece. They will also have set pieces, so have a look at the campaigns that they do, the posts that bring them engagement and why. And there is no excuse for this because every platform does a set of analytics. So there are tools where you can go and have a look at the performance of your posts, what does well, what doesn't do so well, and you can do some of that analysis for yourself. It's a little bit more difficult to do that with the opposition because you won't see the analytics that sit behind their posts, but you will get a sense of what's doing well by looking at the number of views they get, the amount of engagement that they get from people responding and commenting on their posts. So do that bit of research, because if you don't understand what you're up against, you can't begin to build your strategies around how you're going to combat that. So have a look at their posts, the themes that they're using, topics, even the hashtags that they're using, what's trending for them. Look at the timings that they put out. Learn about how they're doing it. Do their images create impact? Are they using a lot of video? By understanding how they are being effective, you can reflect what is appropriate for you in your own marketing messages and gain some of that traction that they are having as well. And finally, I would say you need to understand your place in the league. So are you top, middle or bottom? And are you happy with that, or do you want to change it? Positioning in marketing is everything. And I very frequently come up against organisations, businesses, small and large, who are actually trying to offer a Waitrose level service, but they're only charging a little price. You really won't get much traction if you do that. People like to understand what they're getting for their money, and your place in that league will tell them that. So if it's a Lidl model that you're using, that's high volume, low cost. Nothing wrong with that. That's a great business model if you do it really well. Are you using a Tesco model where you're offering a lot of choice, or quite a wide range of choice and a middling price range? Or, as I say, are you offering a Waitrose model where you are using low volume, very high value, high ticket price, and a high degree of tailorisation in what you're offering? Now, any good football match, if it's being reported on TV, will have a running commentary with it, and there's always the halftime analysis with those pundits who talk endlessly about what's just happened. But your marketing strategy, just like a football team, needs to be able to adapt during your match, during the time that you are marketing your services, because circumstances change, buyers' needs change, problems that they have to deal with change, and so you need to be flexible and responsive in your marketing strategy so that you show you understand their business by keeping pace with that change. You can't do that if you're not regularly reviewing and updating your strategy to ensure that it's still relevant and effective. So there's a 6-step process that you can follow that just helps you to do that in a really quick and easy way. It's really about understanding what's working and what's not. So what are your half-time results? Just ask yourself the question, where are you now? What's going well? What isn't going so well? What needs to change? And when I'm talking about half-time results, what I'm really saying is you could do this really quick and easy audit. You could do it on a monthly basis. At the very least, you should be doing it on a quarterly basis, so every 3 months. Because in some market sectors, change happens really quickly. The second step is to ask yourself visibility. Are you getting noticed, and how do you know? Well, if you're regularly on the social media platforms, you'll be able to tell, because the analytics will tell you whether you're getting higher engagement or lower engagement, whether you're actually getting orders, whether those are dropping off. You will have, if you've got an e-commerce facility on your website, there will be a set of analytics that are attached to that. So use the data that you have about the impact your marketing is having to tell you what's working and what isn't. Step 3 then is engagement. Are people striking up conversations with you? Are they responding to your posts? Are you getting inquiries from there? Either from your website or actually from social media or from the networking that you're doing. All of these are important parts of your marketing strategy. What you have to remember with social media, however, is that if people like your posts, that doesn't automatically mean that they're customers. It doesn't automatically mean that they're fans. Sometimes they've just been scrolling and something that you've said has connected with them. If you answer that, if you engage them in conversation, you're starting to build a bond. And it's really, really useful to do that. Because, for example, with a platform like LinkedIn, the engagement that you have is just as valuable as what you're posting. If you didn't post anything other than one post a month, for example, but you were constantly engaging on other people's posts, responding, commenting, getting into discussions with people, then that strengthens the algorithmic response to your profile. So it's worthwhile doing. Always look at the call to action that you're using on any of your posts or the emails that you send out. Are they strong enough? And if you are using your social media activity to drive traffic towards your website, then you can check that out really easily. But make sure that if that's what you want them to do and you want to drive traffic towards your website, then you have to tell them that in the post. You have to make it easier. And particularly with Facebook and LinkedIn platforms, don't automatically include the hyperlink that you want them to click on to go to your website in the post. Do it in the comments below, because if it's in the post, the algorithm doesn't like anything that takes a visitor away from that platform and to an alternative. So if you want to put that click link in, that's great, but do it in the comments. Put the link in the comments, not in the actual post. Make sure that whatever you're doing, you take every opportunity to grow your email list. Email is coming back into fashion in a big way as part of marketing strategy, simply because there's so much noise in the system. People are more likely to click and open something that is personalised and addressed to them. So we're starting to see an increase in the effective use of email marketing, and so you need to grow your own email list to be able to do that. Plus the fact that if it's your email list, you're in control of that. If you are using the connections on somebody else's platform on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook, then that's not your list, because obviously it's on their platform. And there are a couple of points that I want you to remember. These are really important. If you want to get a quick result with marketing, then the only way to do that is from face to face. Because the social media stuff that you're doing and the email marketing is a much slower burn. It's a way of looking at your marketing strategies, how you're investing in developing relationships with those prospective clients. Because on average, it takes 90 days of consistent activity for an action to show up as a result in your bank account. That's 3 months. Sometimes it's a little bit longer, depending on the messages, how subtle you've been, and what your market will stand. So if you're looking for a quick win, so people that come to me and say, I'm desperate for new customers and I need some by the end of the month, then you should have started 2 months ago. Because, the social media market is so busy that it takes people a while to register you. Remember those 27 touch points? To register you and then to think about how you fit in to their plans and then how to respond. But all of that depends on you understanding the results that you're getting. And sometimes when you look at those analytics, they may not give you the answer that you're looking for. Your activity, your response rate may have gone down, your click rate may have gone down, and you may not be able to see why that is, because it looks as though you're doing the same thing that you've always done. If you're struggling, then there's enough people out there to get a second opinion. Go to somebody who is useful at marketing or a business coach that you rate, and ask them to help you to unpick that and understand it. It's what we specialise in the Micro Business Growth Club. So we can help you to do that for your business results. So we can help you to analyse what you're doing, why it's not having the effect, and how you might need to change it. But sitting there and hoping it will just get better on its own is not a strategy. So you need to be taking action. If it's not doing what you need it to do for you, then obviously something needs to change. So overall, your marketing strategy needs to be responsive. It is an iterative process. So you might start it at the beginning of your year, but it won't look the same, or it shouldn't look the same at the end. Because the world will have changed in those 12 months, and you will need to have responded in some way or another to make sure that your marketing messages keep pace with your capability to help and support your prospective customers. Just like a football team then, any football team needs to be able to adapt its game plan during a match and during a season to respond to those changing circumstances. We have to be exactly the same. That means regularly reviewing and updating your strategy to ensure that it's still relevant and it's still doing what you need it to do. So in summary, your marketing strategy requires a game plan. It requires some really clear tactics and you putting the skills together, and then the ability that you have to read what's happening and adapt to changing circumstances if you need to. The quality of your content is paramount. If you're not offering value, you won't get the engagement. So you need to be thinking about what you can do to improve that quality so that you get that engagement and you start to establish those relationships that could be fruitful business in a few months' time. You can develop a winning strategy that helps you to achieve your goals and beat your competition, but you need to put the work in. It won't just happen on its own. Throwing enough mud at the wall in the hopes that some of it will stick is futile and it wastes time and money. Like I said, hope is not a business strategy. But if you do this really well, then you'll start to see results. I love this quote. Good marketing makes you look smart, but great marketing makes your customers feel smart. So engage them in a way that respects their IQ, their intelligence, their expertise in their business, so that they see you as a potential partner. If we can help any further, then please contact me. I'm more than happy to go through your marketing strategy to see how you can tweak it, how you can fine-tune it, how you can improve it. Good luck with it, and make sure that you write it down regularly so that you're keeping an eye on what your marketing strategy is bringing in for your business. It shouldn't be a passive process. You should be knee deep in footballs and nets and kit. It's the only way to make sure that your business will grow. Thanks very much.